Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast, Skeleton Crew, Episode 4 pre-show. My name is David.
I'm Colin.
And my name is James, and here we talk about all things Star Wars, in particular Skeleton Crew.
That's what we do. God.
That's what we do here. Before we get started, I believe we have some amazing people to thank. So, David, if you want to take it away.
Yes, for sure. We want to thank our awesome top-tier Patreon supporters, Darth Ace 1, Liam McCallan, Chris Simpson, Kevin Lanninger, Devin McCaffrey, Drew Peters, Zach Netzel, Maya Morris, Makatal Tala, Adam Haber, Brad Mackey, Front Row King, Darth Beard, and
Indiana Solo.
Thank you so much for being awesome
That's a
supporters.
fire name. Hell yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, it rivals Darth Beard's name, I'm going to say. But it's like right up there with Darth Beard. So, yeah,
sure. Have you guys played the new Indiana Jones game at all? Or no?
Not yet.
Okay. It's got great reviews, which makes me so happy because, you know, I love Indiana Jones so much, and I just feel like after Dial of Destiny, it was like, okay, where are they going from here? So I'm glad that that game is getting really great reviews. That makes me super happy.
I agree 100%.
Yes, and the people are like, why is Colin talking about Indiana Jones? Why is he doing that? Well, guess what? It's because I can. I don't know. I was going to say it technically is related to Star Wars, but yeah.
Many reasons.
Yeah.
So if you go to legionsabers.com, of course, you type in the word stuff, you can get a free, actually you get 15% off. And if you spend over $300, you get a free lightsaber. Technically, I believe still that promotion's still running. We still have to, I think we have to get with the founder. But yeah, check out legionsabers.com. So automatically here, Darth Ace 1 on YouTube says, happy pre-show, boys. I love you all. Merry Christmas. Aw, thank you so much, Darth Ace 1. We actually met him in San Antonio live at our booth. He was there. I was able to give him something. I gave him his choice of what he wanted. He chose something very, very rare, too. He made a really great choice. I was kind of wondering, because it was a Grogu. I think even before we knew his name was Grogu, but it was the plush from Avon. I know it's kind of weird coming from Avon, but it was one of the really rare plush toys. And so, yeah, he owns one now. Nice. Darth Beard is out there, and he says, yes. Hey, boys.
Thank you for joining us. We have two Darth. We have two Sith in our chat right now. Darth Ace 1 and Darth Beard. But, yeah, let's get into it. Pre-show season 4, episode 4. I am excited. And if you heard our Easter egg episode, you'll know that we were like, where this last episode ended, where episode 3 ended, this next one's going to be insane. This one's going to be just crazy. And I'm really looking forward to it. Colin, are you looking forward to tonight's episode or not?
I am. I'm hoping tonight is the episode that we get the Phil Tippett space crab that they've been hinting at. If you guys don't know what that is, it is basically it's a stop motion creature that they came up with, and it looks real, but it's practical effects, and it looks so good. And I love that they're going back to the basics that they did from the original trilogy, and the fact that they got Phil Tippett involved too is exciting. So I'm hoping tonight is the episode, but it's also, I loved the way that the last episode ended, because it's like, where are we going exactly? Like, what's happening? What's happening next? So I'm super, super excited to see of where we end up going tonight. Do we know how long tonight's episode is?
David, do we have that information?
Don't have that information, but yeah, I mean, the space crab is a really great guess there, Colin. There has been a lot of marketing about it. They just dropped a video in regards to it where John Watts is talking about employing Phil Tippett, and I got a picture right here, so in case anyone hasn't seen it yet, it's not too spoilery because you don't see the front, but yeah, it's a stop motion animated model.
Good.
And that's like the side profile view of it. But yeah, it looks like a huge like crustacean type of creature, and it's massive.
It looks like he has on a saddle, and someone's kind of controlling him. It looks like somebody is.
Oh, interesting. That's an interesting theory.
Yeah, because there's mechanics on there and everything. Yeah. So,
I have no idea why, but it reminds me of the giant crab from the first Moana movie, of where, you know, he's like shiny, like he just seems like he's got like a lot going on there. I know it's not a reference to that, but to me it kind of looks like it. But yeah, no, it looks really interesting. It looks like, I mean, I guarantee you that you'll be able to look closer and you can probably find some Easter eggs like in that shell, that like, because my guess is going to be different mechanical parts from, like, you know, different ships and different things. So I guarantee you there's going to be some type of Easter eggs in there. So yeah,
I agree. Noah on YouTube said, y'all think we'll get another alias for Silvo, Jod, or Jack tonight? So you think we're going to get another name for him?
So I was just thinking about this the other day. So they said that he's got 7 or 8 personas.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
How many episodes of Skeleton Crew are there? There's 8.
8. Yeah.
So you think we're gonna get a different name each
yes.
episode? Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be funny. We'll never really know his name.
Right. And it would be funny if, like, the last episode we get his actual name and it ends up, like, you know, being like a well-known name or something. Probably not, but like I could see like they would just be kind of leading up to it. But yeah.
Oh, Darth Beard has a very controversial take here. I'm just kidding. It's not that controversial, but it's this is how Star Wars should always be made: less CGI, more practical. I say
That's
controversial
funny.
because you tell it to George Lucas that he might very much disagree with you. But the fans, we love the approach they did with the original trilogy. But Lucas, of course, was like, nope, I want to do it this way. But yeah, I'm anxious to see how great the stop motion looks, because stop motion has been around since the beginning of film, and it felt like we peaked around, I think RoboCop 2 was like kind of the peak of stop motion animation, because the next big project was probably going to be Jurassic Park for Phil Tippett, because Phil Tippett did Kane.
Yes.
Too, and he was probably going to do, I think that was the test, but then of course Dennis Muren, and I forget what his other name was, played that trick, and they were able to have the computer going, and Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall saw the image and they're like, what is this? And they're like, oh, sorry, we're just working on this, but they were really trying to push the CG dinosaurs. So ever since then we've gotten away from Phil Tippett's master work. So I'm anxious to see how it looks now, if stop motion has improved over the last like 20 or 30 years. What do y'all think? Y'all think it's going to be pretty great? Are we going to tell that it's stop motion?
That's you know what? That's an interesting kind of concept of stop motion improving, because when I was younger, I used to do a lot of stop motion type videos, like, you know, like for people my age, there was the 3DS, they had like a stop motion thing on there, and we would definitely, like, they had like an app of where you were able to do that. So I would get like a bunch of Lego, clay, and just different things and mess with it. But the concept of stop motion, like, you know, getting, you know, kind of improving, that I think that was the beauty of it, is that there's only really truly like one way to do it. So the way that you see these different claymation films and how they did the effects in the original trilogy, like with stop motion, that's basically all one, like it's just all one technique. There's nothing really to change, like from my yeah. So it's going to be, I mean, you could say maybe they're using a different type of camera, so it looks more realistic. I mean, maybe that, but I really don't know where they could go to really improve it. Unless they add, I mean, because you could add CGI like to certain spots, which it looks like in that picture that David pulled up. They do have like a green screen type of thing there in certain spots, so that's how they could do it. But other than that, I really don't know how they could really improve stop motion. Yeah,
technique. And Darth Beard does have a great point on YouTube. Wallace and Gromit is the pinnacle of stop motion. I stand corrected. It wasn't RoboCop 2, so we'll say it's follows. But no, I agree. We'll see how that how it looks tonight. And I was wrong. I thought the first 2 episodes were going to be the entire everything from the trailers, but it looks like this next episode we're see this crab creature, and I think that's going to be it for our trailer views. Like I thought, what we've seen in the trailer, I think at the very end of this episode we might see that treasure room, and then it's like
interesting.
The last 3 episodes are going to be just this crazy conclusion of what's about to happen. But I think this is the pinnacle episode for Skeleton Crew, and this is going to get the plot going for like this is what's really happening. And then hopefully we find out other things. Like David was saying, James, what's your opinion about the barrier? What's that all about? I'm like, I that's crazy, because looking back, the kids just kind of shot out of the barrier, right? There wasn't like any issue with leaving, correct? Like the ship just
it's like a smoke screen.
Yeah, so I have a feeling they just have like a green screen, if you made like a smoke screen around the planet. And everybody just thinks, oh, that's the way it is. And then the higher up you go, the more you realize, oh, wait, there's actually nothing here. It's just we all were just told never to fly above the barrier. So yeah, I think it's fake 100%. I don't think there's anything up there. I think they told everybody on this planet a story as to why they can't leave. And they think outside of the barrier is, I don't know, something. And then, but once the father saw them leave, he was like, "Oh, maybe there is more." The ship didn't explode; the ship just kept going. So there's that whole thing as well. So, what do you think the barrier is, David? Like just a smokescreen, like you said?
I really still stand by my opinion that the barrier makes the planet look like a gas giant, and of course, typically a gas giant is just all gas. There's no solid ground, so why would any pirate go looking for treasure or anyone attempt to like probe it? So I feel like it's just maybe if it's not natural, it's created by whatever's controlling that atom. But yeah, I think this one is straightforward. I would like to see a big twist on it, but I just haven't really theorized too much on it. But I like the fact that there's like a little bit of science woven in there. And I know Colin always says you can't use science with Star Wars or put
No. I always say you can't put logic into Star Wars, because of if you did that, then a lot of Star Wars wouldn't make sense, right? So you in real life you can't hear like sounds in space and all that stuff, and Star Wars you definitely can. There's explosions in Star Wars, like in space, like in The Last Jedi you have the giant bombs like coming out of that resistance bomber ship, and they go all the way down.
But there's science in that work? Too. I mean, gravity.
Yeah,
there's a gravitational pull, possibly. Or
right,
maybe magnets.
What? You can't put logic in Star Wars, or
you need to put that on a T-shirt, guys. Seriously,
because
that should be part of our swag or merch.
Podcaster who's mad that there are bricks and
okay,
other things as well.
Okay,
anyways, but yeah, I agree. You can't put logic in Star. That's what I love about Star Wars is that it's a, like Kirshner said, it's a fantasy. You know, it's a
that's not sci-fi. It's fantasy.
Yes, it's not sci-fi. It's fantasy. That's how you approach it. But yeah, David, I like the idea that it's like kind of protecting the planet, and that people just think it's a gas giant, and they're just like, okay, don't go to that planet. There's nothing there. Just keep flying by, and then we realize, anyways. So yeah, we'll see. I wonder when if that will ever. It will be we will know what that is. I wonder when we're gonna find out about.
Could be like a big hologram type thing, projection.
Yeah, but who put it there?
The supervisor.
Okay, so that's another thing. Who's the supervisor? Who is this person we keep hearing about that's called the supervisor?
Yeah, there's a lot of theories online. It could be a droid. It could be like this, almost like
I like the one
from like X-Men where you have all the Sentinels and you have the bigger Sentinel, like
that's it, just a bigger droid
mind.
I like the theory that you came up with, David. It was like a week ago or so, and you said that it could end up being one of the original Goonie actors.
I don't think I
which
said that. That was
well,
someone else.
oh, okay. Well, I just thought that was a great theory because of basically the
Maybe I
show
did.
is Star Wars Goonies, so why not have
That would make a
one
lot
of the
sense.
original Goonie actors? Because
Which actor
Sean
would you want?
Sean Astin.
Astin would be great, but I would love I'm
Chunk.
gonna I'm the actor who played Data and also Short Round. I was gonna say his name
Kwan.
wrong. Yes. He would be amazing. Plus that would, continue his career with Lucasfilm, which is fantastic. So
So yeah, back in the day when he was nominated, didn't he say he got a meeting with Marvel and Star Wars, or was it just Marvel and then he appeared in Loki?
I can't remember the.
I can't really. It's very fuzzy for me too.
Yeah. But hell, it's just right across the hall. You could just go, and plus he knows Kathleen Kennedy. They worked.
Yeah.
He worked with him back,
Yeah.
in Temple of Doom, and of course
Yeah.
with the Goonies. So she's
Yeah.
known him all these years. So that wouldn't be that hard to get him in there. And I'm pretty
That
sure
would be a great cameo.
What if Josh
Yeah.
Brolin was the supervisor?
No, man.
I would
crazy if it was Josh.
I would
Brolin.
laugh like for two reasons.
And that's why he did SpaceCon.
Right. So that would be funny because of because okay, not funny for two reasons. Funny for one reason, awesome for another reason. Awesome because Josh Brolin in Star Wars is cool. Second one would be funny because our friend Ted was like right next to him, talking to him on stage, like about different projects. So I think that would be hilarious if that ended up of being the case.
It would be pretty big. It would be pretty big if it was Josh Brolin who pops in as a supervisor. I think that would be something pretty great. I'm under the impression that the supervisor is almost like what David said. It's a droid, but it's not like a big droid. I think it's a computer. It's like a central computer that was programmed to do something, and it's still just carrying out that plan, that mission. It hasn't been changed. Because everything we've known about these kids and everything we know about what they're going through, they don't know any. It's all what Old Republic. They have the Old Republic credits, and that's what everyone's like. Oh my gosh, what do you do with Old Republic credits? And that's the big thing. They have these. So, I think from the beginning of the Phantom Menace until now, this planet has no idea what's going on outside of their planet. So I think whatever is controlling this is very, very old. And so that's why my mind goes to it was a computer program or something that was put in motion by somebody. Maybe it was Plagueis. Maybe he was crafting something, getting that extra security in case his plan ultimately did turn out to be successful. That this planet would be able to create something that they would use later on and create the First Order. I don't know. It's just really crazy to think that they have no idea about any of the events outside of the galaxy. So, computer droid. I don't think it's a person as much as I want it to be, but I think it's going to be some type of mechanical thing.
Well, Darth Beard, our awesome Patreon member on YouTube, says I want the droid to be voiced by Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
I feel like if they did that, that would kind of be like the kind of like what they did in She-Hulk, of where they went into the room and like the robot's name was like Kevin or something. Yeah, I don't want them to do that.
Well, first she went out of the show onto the Disney Plus screen and then crawled through, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I She-Hulk though. She-Hulk.
I don't want them to do that. I don't want them to treat this as a joke. I want them to
No, I think what they've been doing so far is far from a joke. What they're doing, you have these guys and this team of creators who love Star Wars, and they love this particular genre of movies, which was the 80s, which is the stuff that we grew up watching. And it's like, what if Star Wars was like that? And so they're treating it that way, and I think they're treating it very, very well. They're giving us a lot of interesting things that we haven't seen before in Star Wars, but we're used to seeing. And but But yeah, where it's going to go, I don't know. Who the supervisor is, I don't know. What other questions are we still unsure of, David?
So there's a lot of thought out there on what Ad-Atten will become, and some people think that, and they are theorizing that maybe Ad-Atten becomes Exegol.
Whoa, that's why nobody can find it.
That's no.
Now.
I'm gonna. Well, no. I'm saying that's no because there was a comic book that's already established. That takes place between the events of Empire and Return of the Jedi, and it actually is one of the Darth Vader comics, and they go over to, Darth Vader like finds out that the Emperor's been, like he's upset with the Emperor, and he goes to Exegol, and he actually sees his plans for Snoke. He like sees the Star Destroyers like under the ice. So during the events of Return of the Jedi, Darth Vader knew about all of that, and then he comes back as a Force ghost, and he still knows all that. So they kind of created a plot hole with making that comic, but that comic does exist. Well, here is the plot hole, James.
Oh, I know.
Why?
I'm just saying. Like, why did Yoda tell them? Oh, by the way, there's some stuff that's going to happen later.
Yes,
I know that this is actually going on right now, but I'm not
right. Right.
So, yeah, there's so much.
But yeah, so I'm going to shoot that theory down right now because of that's already like a canon thing that Exegol is its own thing. There's no way this planet could be that.
I would like to remind you that anything in comics or books can be superseded by live action.
All right. True. Well, I'm just saying is that I don't think they would, because of that Darth Vader comic series is like a big one. This one's not one of your like small like kind of one-off stories. This was a big Darth Vader like comic book storyline that went on for a very long time. I don't think they would just write it off.
So, and it's the famous one where he has the dream and he sees Palpatine as possibly his father. And
yes, yeah, okay. Yeah. I don't see them really doing that. If they did, I would be very shocked. But this being Exegol 2 would be interesting just because of with Exegol, it's supposed to be this Sith centric planet. I'm not really getting any of those vibes
because they're not there yet.
The cult hasn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't buy that. I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
I would say I think Starkiller Base would be one of those that would make a little bit of sense. Okay, where's the story that says it can't be Starkiller Base?
Because the planet Ilum ends up becoming that planet. If you play Jedi Fallen Order, yeah, you see it. Yeah,
go to Ilum.
Sorry,
but so it has to be something though. But or it just could be this, Fountain of Youth. Thing. In the old pirate stories, they were always trying to find the Fountain of Youth, and so this could be one of those things, this legend that these pirates have, but I feel like there has to be more to it than that. I will be really disappointed if it's just like, oh, we removed the barrier, and then that's it, and then you're just like, but what was the point? What was the purpose? Why are these people going to these such mundane jobs, and these kids, poor Neil is brainwashed, like, oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be an analyst, and it's like, why do you want to do that, kid? Don't you want to do more with your life? And so,
have you also seen the pictures that they have like on their walls? Like they are very biblical pictures. Like it seems really interesting. Like it's not that it feels like a cult. Yeah, like it just seems I've got
very
questions
in a way.
Yeah.
Well, I did ask artificial intelligence about Colin's proclamation there that Ilum is Starkiller Base, and the machine says yes, Ilum is Starkiller Base.
I can't believe
Ilum is
a nice planet. You would question me. Why would you question me?
The First Order converted Ilum into Starkiller Base, a Death Star-like super weapon. So there you go.
Yeah.
It would have been cool, though. You know what I mean? That would have been such a cool, just like with Andor and the prison, you know,
Yeah.
the planet, they're making these things, and then you see the
Yeah.
carapace back, realize it was for the Death Star. Which I'm still thinking we're gonna get. I still think we're gonna get like that reveal that we're gonna go, oh, okay, that's what it. I think we're gonna get that. Because, or like I said, I'll be happy if it's just like quote unquote the fountain of youth for the pirates to like they find it and they're like, oh, it's been hidden this whole time, but there has to be more to this whole thing.
Yeah.
I I hope we find out soon. I hope we hopefully at the end of this episode, the parents finally like leave to go look for the kids, and then now we can just really get the story going. Which that's my next question. Are we gonna just keep going, or are we gonna like is the story gonna slow down? Because episodes 1, 2, and 3 progressed very quickly, which is
Yeah.
kind of different for Star Wars television. So are we still going that pace, or do you think we're gonna slow down episode 4 and kind of
Well,
explore a little bit of what's going on?
I don't think this is your traditional Star Wars show. I don't feel like, you know, I can compare this to The Mandalorian or Obi-Wan or Ahsoka even. And that's the beauty of this. I love that, you know, how this show can really stand on its own. Something we haven't talked about yet was that the show didn't really hit the mark for the top 10 chart as some of the other Star Wars shows have. How do you guys feel about that?
I think people are still a little upset with season 3 of Mando, Kenobi, and the Acolyte. I think people are already. I've talked to a few people who've said I'm kind of done with Star Wars Disney Plus, and it's like, okay, I understand. I think that's what it is. I think people are just a little upset by how those other shows kind of ended and went, which is a shame because this one is kind of the best. You know, I think this one is. But we're not done yet. But I put it up there with Andor and Ahsoka with the live action shows. But yeah, I'm a little bummed that people aren't really watching it. But I also will say this: there's not a lot of negative comments about
I know.
the show. Like everybody there, when I was on TikTok for Acolyte, it was every day there was this, there was this. There's so many people were complaining. Nobody's doing that right now with Skeleton Crew, which I love and I'm happy about. But do you think it's because they're kids? These are kids, and if you start to attack that, then you're like picking on a kid. You know what I mean? Is that why people are kind of not saying much about Skeleton Crew?
I think there's many factors. I think that's a little bit of a factor. I think the factor that we weren't really expecting anything with the Acolyte. I think all of us were kind of expecting more of like looking through the eyes of the Sith. That's kind of what they told us in the investor call.
I didn't
And
like how it had to take
dark.
a whole. I didn't like how they got to the end and then they showed Darth Plagueis, which is one of the. That was probably one of my biggest things was they brought this character that fans have been waiting for a long time to be brought into live action. We all thought that, you know, Snoke could have been potentially Plagueis, but then it got killed right away. So they had the opportunity to bring him in, and then they do, and he's hiding in a cave, and he's got no lines at all. And then you see the concept art, and it's just like what happened here? And maybe this doesn't close off the whole opportunity of having Plagueis on screen, but to bring in a character like that at the very end of a show with no lines or anything was a very interesting move. And I think that was something that excited fans, but disappointed them as well, just because of that character is a very big deal. That guy trained Palpatine, who later would be the ruler of the galaxy for a period of time. And you just dropped him for like maybe 10, 15 seconds with no lines at all. And it was just kind of disappointing to do that. So I really hope that we see him very soon on screen one day. I really hope that's not the last of him. I really hope it's not.
It's not going to be the last one, but I mean, they should have led with Plagueis, and it should have been very Plagueis centric, you know.
Yeah,
I think that's the slam dunk that Disney Lucasfilm can give us that we're all asking for. It's it's kind of weird that they don't just like give us all these things that would be like surefire, almost
Slam
impossible to mess up. It's yeah.
Slam dunks like David's. And it is weird because I remember Leslie Headland was like, we're not going to, we have access to all these people, but we're not going to really use any of these people. And David was always like, why not? Like, why wouldn't you bring in Yoda? Why wouldn't you bring in other legacy characters? And if you do it right, it's cool. You don't have to do the whole, like, I'm going to say, Finn picking up the ball on the Millennium Falcon that Luke used and throw. I was like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. When he picked that up, it was like, it was almost like Abrams was like, look at this, everybody. And he threw it away. I was like, oh no, don't do that. But I feel like if you could bring in Yoda, there's a way to do it, and it would have been great. If you bring in Plagueis, it would have been really, really crazy. If like halfway through the show, once we got the, Manny Jacinto reveal that he's the villain, and then he goes and then he starts talking to his master, then everybody would have been like, oh, this all
right.
Now this makes sense of what he's doing.
Yes.
It was like
they
were nervous to do that, and I was like, why?
I also didn't like there was a comment that the director made as well where she said that the show, don't worry, the show won't leave in a cliffhanger. This show will leave on a note that would potentially, if we were to do something like that's how it would be. And it definitely left on on a lot of stories that could happen that we're probably not going to see on screen, and we'll probably get in a comic or something. But it just, Darth Plagueis is such a big deal, and I know that we'll get him on screen one day, hopefully. But it's just they had him right there, and they didn't do it, and it was just like it was just, I was really bummed about it because
you don't leave Michael Jordan on the bench in the finals. You play him. You got to put the big guy in.
Yeah. So
again, slam dunk. See again, David.
All basketball in here. Yeah.
But I will say this though. One thing with shows now, any show, your final episode, everybody always wants a second season, unless you're the Penguin, which was like, we are definitely doing this. The Penguin was amazing. That's why it ended the way it did, and you're good because you just made for the movie. But the Mando season 1, remember how Mando season 1 ended? And we were just like, oh my gosh, what the hell is going on here? And it was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. This is so great. Same with Book of Boba Fett. You end it, and it's like you have to end it in a way that you have to bring people in. So it was really shocking when the Acolyte said it's going to be a finite ending, and we may hint to something. And it was like, we were hinting. But anyways, do you think this show will be one of those endings? Do you think we're going to end it? We're all going to be like, no. You know what I mean? Are we going to be mad that it ends? Or are we going to be like with
right? So, okay, I'm going to say that I think it could go honestly, I think it could go two ways. I think it could leave on a cliffhanger leading into Ahsoka. I could definitely see them doing that. Ooh. Or I could see them just kind of going off and doing their own thing. Because if you have to think that I don't think they're just gonna end this show and like think of something later, because of the directors and screenwriters for this have already said we know what we want to do for season 2, and it's not going to be like Stranger Things, of where it would be, hey, we are gonna pick up like a couple of days after, like from where the first season ended. It would probably be like a year or two after. So they could definitely do something of where they could either have where like everything happens, the planet's no longer isolated, and now they've got stuff going on with the New Republic, and then the Mandalorian Avengers type movie happens, and they need fighters and people, and they bring the kids in. Cool, great. But I think that it could be a Lost in Space situation of where they end up, they go on their adventure, they're about to go home, and then somehow something gets weird with their hyperdrive because something was added to it or something along the way. And then they, get stuck in the same galaxy as Ahsoka and Sabine. I think that would be pretty cool. How do you guys feel about that potentially happening?
What you got, David?
I just had an idea. A really good idea.
Cook it.
So
Do it.
initially I was going to say was maybe it's a hybrid. Maybe it does have a solid finite ending, but is open to lead into a second season. But
Yeah.
what if they do this? What if we get the happy ending and then we send the kids on their way home in the ship, in the Onyx Cinder, and then everyone's like, yay, they're going home or whatever. But they end up in the battle of the film we're about to get. That's how they're connected to the Mandoverse.
Oh, right. So you're talking about like the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, or are you talking about like the big
Or the
Avengers,
Avengers one,
movie
yeah.
type style? Yeah.
Either
Okay.
or. Because Filoni and Favreau were there. They're executive producers. I mean, they were asked, what should we do to connect it?
Right. They could totally do that. Like I mean, if you do look back at Marvel, I think that's a fine example. At the end of Thor Ragnarok, you had the end of that, right? And they're like on their way to Earth, and then Thanos' ship like just comes up out of nowhere, and then they're like, hey, what's going on with that? And then we didn't really know anything going on for about 2 years until the opening of Avengers Infinity War. So they could do that. They could absolutely do something like that and just keep us on the edge of our seats for a couple of years. I mean, like, what's
I mean, percentage of that might be a little low, but I mean, it is the second most expensive TV series of all time.
Yeah.
It's like we're gonna have to see more money here eventually. If it's an actor that's like very famous that they brought on that we don't know about, to me, it feels like there is gonna
George
be
Lucas
a
himself.
big twist at some point, and that twist is gonna make it. I feels like it has the potential to make this show even better than what it is, and I don't like the fact that it's out of the top 10 in streaming. It should be. I mean, the show is good enough to be in the top 10, but like James said, it's due to the like kind of hysteria of like, oh my gosh, what happened in Star Wars with like Book of Boba Fett?
Crazy thing. The Acolyte had crazy viewership after the show, after the episode.
Because you have all the people that want to binge watch.
Everybody binge watched it, and everybody was talking about it, but it wasn't enough, obviously, which is really sad. But I agree. I think next week, Christmas Eve, we're gonna get an episode that's gonna blow our minds, and because I think episode 5 is directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and what I've heard, episode 5 is going to be a big episode.
And I heard the actor who played Neil said that it's mostly about him, and he was really excited. So he was like, "I think episode 5 is mostly about my story," so I'm pretty happy about that. But Bryce Dallas Howard's episodes have been amazing. So I'm wondering who they could bring in, like who they could like, who's this character or who's somebody they could bring in that make us all go, oh my gosh. Or
Harrison Ford.
This is the ship that goes and gets, Sabine and Ahsoka back. Like they go out, find Sabine and Ahsoka, and they come back to the galaxy. That's a whole other thing they could do.
In a whole episode, though, could you imagine that? Okay.
Like the twist, and like that's it. That's the ending.
Okay. I got you. That'd
be really disappointing though if they did it all in one episode. Be like, really? That's it? But yeah, I mean, anybody could show up in this thing. Mando and Grogu could show up, which of course I think financially would make the most sense for Star Wars.
Yeah,
throw them in there. Who else? I mean, I thought we were going to see Zeb flying an X-wing in the last episode. That would have been ridiculous.
I could definitely see them bringing in Mando and Grogu, and people were like, well, like they can't just have him show up to show up. And I think a couple of weeks ago I said that a great reason for him to do it is because of he can relate to the situation, because of as far as all the public knows right now is this pirate has kidnapped some kids. And who can really relate to that? Well, Din can, because he did everything in his power to get Grogu back. So he's doing specific missions, with Carson Teva and then the New Republic, specifically that that are those type of missions like from the New Republic. I hope that makes sense. I'm just kind of rambling right now, but I could see him relating to that situation in such a big way where he's like, okay, I'm gonna hop on my ship and I'm gonna do my thing. And they also, you know, in this last episode, the pirates were like, you know, hey, listen, like put a bounty on Jod's head, like do whatever it takes to bring him back. So we could see different bounty hunters. And Din is a bounty hunter, so that makes sense. I would like to see original trilogy bounty hunters.
I think that's the move. I think that's the move right there.
I think that would bring in a lot of people. I mean, like seeing like Bosk and Dengar and Forlom and Zuckuss would be great. I think bringing Dengar would be a big one just because, you know, we know where he is in Rise of Skywalker. So, you know, it's like, how did his body form the way that he did in Rise of Skywalker? Like, why not explain it here? He's like chasing the kids, right? And the giant crab creature comes up and eats them, but, you know, he like spits them out and he's all like deformed. Maybe that's why he is the way that he is. Like, I don't know.
That's a good point. Noah on YouTube said one more thing. He said, honestly, staying out of the top 10 may be a good thing. A slow building fire that ultimately erupts into a scorcher may just be what Star Wars needs right now.
Yeah.
True. David, go on.
Yeah, if I was in charge of the show, I mean, I think it would the show would lose a little bit of its like respectability if they brought in Mando and Grogu. I mean, what Colin's idea was bringing original trilogy people into it. I think that would be fine, but I think there would be a little bit of a collective eye roll for everyone watching if Mando and Grogu shows up, because we've seen that before.
Book of
Didn't go over that well.
There he is again.
But I mean,
it's probably gonna happen though.
If I was in charge of this thing, I would very much want that to happen, but for the sake of the quality of the show and the respectability, I don't think I could do that.
Or it's the ghost. The ghost shows up with Hera and Ezra there to save the day. That would be something that would be
cool. Really cool. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
So it's so funny though, because I'm also seeing it from a customer perspective. If Mando shows up, I can see everyone that does a Din Djarin costume is just like, okay, all right, so that part is different, that part is different, I have to make this part, his armor is completely different, I have to make that now. I can just see that happening because it's happened every time that Din Djarin has popped on a new show or like his show. It's never the same. It's always slightly different. And then for the CRLs, for like the 501st and all the other groups are like very specific. Like it has to be precise and screen accurate. So it's like, okay, so we have to do all this to make it accurate as possible. So if he does show up, it's going to be a different look. And I can already see people in the costume community being like, okay, I got to change this and this to match it. But yeah,
I just want Grogu to show up wearing armor as well. TJ's in the house. TJ, episode 4 is going to drop tonight. We are all excited. And
yes, you're early, TJ.
Darth Beard had a question. Oops. He said the creators said that they have ideas for season 2 and addressing the jump in the kids' age, which is true because the kids are like 3 or 4 years older than now. So they either get home or they don't for another 5 years until season 2.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like the very end of this, they might be somewhere else. So
you know, I can see them leaving it open ended where they're still trying to find home, but it's like a conclusion simultaneously.
Season 2,
fans would ask for season 2 more so. And I think that I was going to say this earlier, but we kind of left that topic. But I was going to say one of the major ingredients in Star Wars is it's got to be fast and intense. The Acolyte wasn't that. This show is that. It hit the ground running, and we're just going and going and going.
Yes.
And we're not stopping.
I don't feel like, you know, as some people say, and I really don't like using the term, and I know Dave Filoni doesn't like it either, but it's like, I don't feel like there's been any like kind of like filler moments. Oh. So yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna happen for me.
Yeah. So and that's the beauty of it, and I think is what keeps drawing people in is that David, you're absolutely right. It just keeps going, not like you going like this because you're not gonna get any of the emotes. But yeah, no, I like how the ball just keeps going. I don't feel like there's any moments where it feels super slow or anything. So yeah, I'm excited to see tonight's episode. It's gonna be awesome.
But here's the problem, though: 1, 2, and 3 were amazing. 4 has the possibility to slow down, and that's what I'm afraid of. Is that 4 slows down? But
I don't think so,
slow
man.
down, we need we need a lot of character development. We need a lot of probably find out who John is. You know what I mean? Like that might be a good opportunity. But yeah, I think we've gone so fast that this would be the episode that they would go, okay, let's slow it down.
Yeah.
Let's take our time with this. And so I'm like, oh man, I really. But I like what David said. It has to be faster and more intense. We need this show just to keep going. I want us to be in hyperspace, coming out of hyperspace because something's wrong and they gotta or this and that, or they're being chased by somebody, and it's like, oh, here we go, let's do this. So that's what I'm hoping for in this next episode. And we are 14 minutes out, and we still have a crowd here watching. Let us know what you are all waiting for in this episode. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, let us know, because we're eager to hear what your predictions are, what you want to happen in this episode. And like I said, I think we're gonna get the giant crab, and we're gonna get the treasure room at the end of this episode. And I think
Borgullet's cousin.
Borgullet's that would be that'd be something pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. I will be back for the post show, but you guys have fun with the rest of the pre-show.
You have fun, doing
cooking dinner.
Oh, see, David, I'm with you. It's
here you go.
There you go. See,
there you go.
Oh. Okay. All right.
For everybody
out there,
all of you. Take care.
Cook that stovetop stuffing.
Don't end the show, Colin. Just
end the show.
I'm not.
Yeah, just leave this. Okay.
There we go. There was one time, everybody, Colin, I just see Colin's face like this, and he goes, and then it all went. We're like, oh my gosh, dude. And then
Craig did that too.
Yeah, I was like, dude, what are you doing? But somebody said I wouldn't mind a plot twist. I'm expecting there to be a plot twist in regards to the planet. Yeah, we're waiting for that for the planet. Oh, we got Haley here, gave us some hearts. Thank you. Oh, that's, I guess, right back at you one more time. There it goes. They're not purple, but they'll do. But yeah, a big plot twist with the planet would be pretty great this episode. But I think they're gonna push it for the next one. Seeing Timothy Oliphant interacting with Jude Law would be pretty awesome. And like we said, Timothy Oliphant shows up in season 2 of Mando, starts talking his character, and we all were just like, yeah, he is in Star Wars. Like, he is a Star Wars character, and he crushed it. He was so good. And
he's just a good actor all the way around.
He's just a phenomenal actor. And having him show up would be something pretty cool. Who else? And I know Noah was like, isn't Zeb supposed to pop up somewhere? I would hope so. I was really hoping he would be one of the X-Wing pilots the last episode, but the good news is Kim is probably going to tell the Republic about what's happening. So the Republic is now involved in finding these kids and finding this pirate. So that's another aspect that we need to also remember. Boba returning would be pretty cool. That would make sense to see him searching for the kids. And then, of course, Darth Beard has the best, which is Darth Plagueis is watching from a cave the whole time. He's still in the cave. I'm just kidding.
I think George Lucas has specifically said that the Sith cannot turn into Force ghosts. I think that's one of the main rules that he has. But that's a cool thought, cool notion. Kind of like the whole Gray Jedi thing.
Oh, don't say Gray Jedi. Just kidding. You can piss off a lot of people if you say Gray Jedi, because there's a huge divide with the Gray Jedi. What else could we get? Boba Fett returning would be cool. I think that would be something that'd be pretty awesome to see him fighting the kids.
I gotta hand it to Colin, though. I do like the idea of bringing back original trilogy characters, but not the main ones.
Yeah.
But it's the second most expensive TV show of all time. So they spent some serious money, but did they spend it on paying for a specific actor to show up? or did they just spend it on all the CGI and all the space battles and everything we haven't seen yet, which could be incredible?
I mean, I will say the visual effects and especially the pirate, port was incredible. And on our
Yeah.
Easter egg episode, if you're watching on YouTube, Ted brought up a really high resolution picture of it. We zoomed in, and there was so much happening in this picture, and I was like, "This is nuts! This is crazy." Yeah, so maybe the budget is towards the production value. If Great Jedi was canon, Qui-Gon would be in that category. That's a whole great conversation of whether or not Qui-Gon would have gone with Dooku as a separatist. Like that's a whole because Dooku even says, "I really wish he was here. I could have used his help." And it's like, oh man. Anyways, that's one of my.
I thought he was just kind of egging on Obi-Wan in that situation.
I don't know.
I mean, it was.
I always feel like anything Christopher Lee says, he's sincere, even if he's the villain. I always feel like, yeah, he means from the heart, That's just Christopher Lee being just 007. But yeah, we are 9 minutes out, and I'm excited. Back in the day, you used to be able to they dropped the episodes 10 minutes early, but I think they changed it. It's not the case anymore. Like when Mando was dropping, I remember David and I would tell him, "Hey, 10 minutes, log in. It's gonna be there, ready to go." Are you checking right now?
Yeah,
to see if it's up.
Just to for
see
funsies.
Just for
So it's 7:51 Central Time.
It's 5:51 here because I'm the cool guy here in California. All right, take care, guys. May the force be with you. Oh, thanks, TJ, for joining. We really appreciate. Be sure to come back for the post show. We'll be on nerding out about what we just saw. So yeah, be sure to check us out there.
Hasn't dropped yet.
Oh man. I think I told too many people and they were like, all right, we got to slow it down here. We got to slow it down. But
yeah, I think they upgraded all their servers and storage. So that's too many people is not an issue anymore.
Noah Richards says, I doubt they bring him over from the EU, but having Julaw's character actually Talon card would be a damn cool twist. Yeah, there's a lot of theories to who he actually will be. And what his actual name is. What would be really funny, I was thinking about this. What if he was named Anakin because he was born during the Clone Wars and his family named him Anakin? And then you know what I mean? Like that would be something nuts. And then later he finds out what happened to Anakin because all anybody knows in the galaxy up to that point, most people, is that he died during the Clone Wars. So that nobody knows that he turned into Vader. Actually, I have to look back because around this time, Leia Organa is kind of announced to everybody. Somebody calls her out and says, "Your father was Anakin Skywalker."
Yeah, from the Bloodline novel.
Yeah, the Bloodline novel, which is really great, by the way. If you haven't read Bloodline, go do it right now. It's amazing. So that I also wonder if like that's his name and he's just trying to hide that name, Anakin, which would be interesting. So
I never thought of that. I never thought of a character being named Anakin after Anakin Skywalker from the Clone Wars.
We got Ben, Ben Solo.
Yeah.
Or Ben Swallow, depends on how you want to, address him. But yeah, so it's just an idea I had. What else we got? Yeah, 7 minutes. All I gotta say is when last week's episode ended, I was like going, oh my gosh, because it was so cool. It was like, this is so great. This feels like a great show, not just a Star Wars show. This is a great, intriguing show that I haven't seen in a very, very long time. I'm trying to remember a show like this that was adventurous and made me happy. Stranger Things final season was kind of that way, but it was also very dark and very, very depressing. Same with The Penguin. The Penguin I loved, but also very, very dark and fantastic. But I can't remember a show that was like this that made me really, really happy each week. It made me like, oh my gosh. What do you think? Been a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get too high. I don't want to get too low on it. We've gone through experiences with these TV shows where it's just kind of,
is that real?
Like, what are we going to get? I don't want to get too overhyped. I don't want to raise my expectations too much, but like I said, it's been fast. It's been intense. It's been really cool. So hello there, Star Wars.
Is that really Star Wars? Is that really Star Wars? I just said hello there.
That's what it says.
No way is Star Wars actually watching this. Star Wars, are you really watching this? Are you watching our pre-show? Please say yes.
The official YouTube channel.
Is this the official YouTube channel watching us?
Well, they do know we exist.
That's good. Thank you so much, Star Wars. Welcome to our pre-show. We're excited Oh, okay. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. But yeah, we're just
Maybe
nerding
you
out
can
here.
prove it to us by sending us like a box of like stuff from Skeleton Crew.
That would be cool. That would be really cool. David's address and everything is online. You can find it. Just
God. You simple Google my name.
just Google his name.
But no, Star Wars Stuff Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah,
you
Star
can
Stuff
contact
Podcast.
us
Yeah,
there.
if it's really you, please message us at Star Stuff
Send us some
Podcast
Skeleton Crew stuff.
.com.
So James, if you didn't know, James is actually very close to where Skeleton Crew was shot. You don't have to mail it that far. Even you can
Yeah,
send it
I'm
straight
right.
to James.
I'm right here in Hollywood, so that's exciting. And it is a little nerve wracking to know that some of that stuff is filmed here or just on the other side of the mountain there or in Burbank. And it's like, man, if only I could just sneak in one day, and be like, hey, don't mind, I'm just chilling. Don't look at me. But
Hire
yeah,
James as an actor, Star Wars. He's an
yes,
actor.
yeah. Reach out to my agent. I keep telling her all the time, like, Star Wars, anything Star Wars, please, Star Wars. Yeah, I would love to be in Star Wars. I told Aman I'd be I could be his brother or his cousin, and or he told me I could play his cousin in Ahsoka season 2. So please cast me.
Please, Star Wars, please.
I would love that. My hair, when it gets longer, I look just like him. So yeah. So what else we got? All right, we're 4 minutes out, everybody.
Hasn't dropped yet.
I have a feeling this episode's going to be big. It's directed by the Daniels. This was before they did Everything Ever All at Once, but they've proven themselves before that they're really, really great writers and directors. So I'm eager to see what they bring to Star Wars. So what are you excited that they're the ones directing this one?
Now I feel like we are going to get the whole like crustacean action sequence because that is kind of like a weird thing, and then Phil Tippett's involved and he's doing his stop motion thing.
Thank
which
God Phil Tippett's
is a welcome thing because that's another ingredient to Star Wars. I think you got to be fast and intense, and you got to have some stop motion stuff.
You can have Phil Tippett somewhere involved, or John.
Yeah,
but the fact that Phil Tippett is still going and he's still doing this form of special effects is incredible, and it makes me so happy. So I think we are going to get it this episode. And yeah, I know we're just rambling here, everybody, but thank you so much for watching. I mean, we love doing these pre-shows and the post-show and all the Easter eggs. And I look forward to this each week because it's exciting. But next week is Christmas Eve. I don't know if we're going to be doing a pre-show or even a show. We'll do
a programming note here. So the pre-show for episode 5 will probably happen like the Sunday before and not directly before because of course we'll all have family stuff going on and working and all kinds of other stuff. So we'll do the pre-show that weekend before, and the post-show it'll happen at some point, but
probably the day after Christmas, or because
it's possibly. I mean, it just depends if people are available Christmas Eve night. I mean, I guess we could do it, but it just depends on people.
And relaxing Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Eggnog is a weird thing. I know people don't. There's like a fine line with eggnog, just like Grey Jedi and Star Wars. Eggnog and people, that's a whole other thing. But anyways, but yep, 2 minutes out. But yeah, thank y'all so much for watching this, for being a part of this. Like I said, we look forward to doing this all the time, and we love reading your comments while we're going. And come back after the episode. We're going to be doing a post show, and like I said, we're just going to be nerding out about what we just saw. So yeah, I guess that pretty much does it. Let me see if I get another. Nope. Oh yeah, there it goes. Okay.
So guys, everyone that's watching us, listening to us, join us after the episode ends, and we will break it all down. You can submit questions, comments, whatever, and we will talk about it all. So we will see you then. May the force be with you.
Always.